There's nothing like or near a U.S. Amateur. It is the biggest event. There's so many players, 300 some odd players, and cut down to 64. And you know all 64 are playing well. And then it comes down to an 18-hole boat race, except for the final. And anyone can win an 18-hole boat race. Thank goodness the final is 36 holes, because I was down on every single final. Somehow I was able to squeak it out at the end. But when you kind of compare yourself to Jack Nicklaus, compare yourself to the great Bobby Jones, things start changing.
3 straight U.S. Amateur Championships for Tiger Woods. Not Palmer, not Nicklaus,
not Bobby Jones
not
either.
Bobby Jones.
And when you're able to put your records and accomplishments up next to individuals like that, it just makes it that much more special.
From Clovis, California, Bryson DeChambeau.
Playing in the U.S. Amateur was definitely one of the highlights of my amateur career, and winning it was super special. It's the most difficult championship to win in the world. I don't care if you're talking about majors or anything like that. It is a week-long event where you've got to prep on 2 golf courses. You've got to be physically fit, mentally fit, and ready to go for 6 matches after you qualify to get into match play. There's a lot of great players that can get to the match play portion of it, albeit their games have to be really good and they have to be on, and they've got to be able to handle the pressure. But being able to go forth those last couple matches and win is something that you have to dig down deep and grind it out. Because anybody can shoot deep one day and you're out, right? And that was the biggest thing for me, is that I would always play well enough to get a match play, and then always be beat by somebody that played just a little bit better than me. And that last time I'm like, I'm not letting anybody beat me. I'm just gonna shoot 7 under every single time. And sure enough, going into the last round, I was 19 under par. So I'd played pretty well to get in the championship match and was able to get it done. One thing that forever will be in my mind is what I was able to accomplish, but the history of it as well, and being able to look back and say, wow, all of these players, Mr. Bob Jones and Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger 3 times in a row. I mean, these names are unbelievable and something that I'm so honored to be able to be a part of.
Broadmoor's the first time I played at altitude. And usually when you're playing at altitude, you're playing in the mountains. And I remember the first putt I hit there looked to me like it was going to go this way, and it broke 3 feet the other way. And I said, whoops. So I spent some time out there before the tournament, learned the greens. There's all kinds of things that you just sort of learn as you play at altitude. And as a result, I ended up really enjoying playing at altitude. I thought it was fun. I thought the Broadmoor was fun. And that's one of the golf courses that taught me to prepare. If you prepare properly, you're ahead of the game with the guys you're playing with.
The National Amateur Golf Championship is at stake in Colorado Springs.
Well, we were all even coming to the 18th hole. So I had a 9-iron and I put it in about 8 feet short of the hole, and then I hold the putt. It's probably the biggest putt, the most important putt I ever made in my life. And it just proved to me that I could do that. And put in my head that when I got under pressure, when I got down there at the end, I could do it. And then I won again in 61. I shot under par every single round that I played at Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach is a pretty special place to me. When you win the U.S. Amateur at a place, you're going to develop a love affair with it.
I'd played in a handful of U.S. AMs at that point. I obviously had a pretty big target on my back going into that tournament. I'd won every tournament leading up to that, from the NCAA's to Pub Links Western Am. I'm impressed that I was able to kind of keep it in perspective and not get too overwhelmed by the moment or by that situation. And there's a reason I have a target on my back. That's because I'm playing good golf, and that's a really good thing. And actually look at it as a positive thing. I was playing some of the best golf, if not the best golf, certainly in the amateur world at that point in time, and someone was going to have to go out and beat me. I had some great matches, some close ones, some ones that came down the wire. I had a match earlier, I think it was maybe in round of 16, I was 2 down with 4 holes to go, and I won the last 4 holes to end up winning the match. Final match, I was down again, but I stayed patient and was able to just sneak them out.
Ryan Moore just
too tough, and here he wins the U.S. Amateur.
That's something that I still can gain confidence from to this day, you know, just knowing I've played a tough championship golf course like that and played it well. Won as a professional, and you know, I'm still identified as a U.S. Amateur champion. And I think that says it right there. I mean, there's just, the tournament means so much, and there's so much significance to it.
Got to the U.S. Amateur, and it was at the Country Club, and of course the Country Club in North Carolina is a beautiful place. I had some really tough matches. I played Willie Wood. I had to get it up and down on the last hole from about 40 yards to beat him, I think, and made birdie on the last hole. I played Bob Lewis in the finals. I played really, really well. I was like 7 or 8 under for the distance, basically. Bob did not play bad. He just didn't play well enough to do that, and really gotten to where I felt really good about my golf swing right then. I felt like I understood it as well as anybody else. I was really set into myself. I'm happy to have been able to do that. It's always been something that I look at, and when I look back at trophies that I've won, you know, and it matters now because I've got kids, you know, and they'll ask me, Daddy, which one do you cherish the most? Well, the U.S. Amateur is one of them that I always say. That point in my life, that was as big as I could achieve, you know, and it was an exciting time in my life. You win the U.S. Amateur, you feel like you're started in the right direction for what you've set out for your whole life to do.